Hello there, everyone. Judge Andrew Napolitano here for Judging Freedom. Today is Friday, February 18th, 2022. It's about 2:45 in the afternoon on the East Coast of the United States. I'm looking north, or at least my mind is concentrated on the north, at the radical violations, the unconstitutional, even by Canadian standards, violations of civil liberties being visited upon the trucker convoy that is manifesting a yearning for freedom. We all know this trucker convoy. It's in several places in Canada. The most critical place was where the Ambassador Bridge goes from Detroit to Canada. That's very critical for commercial activity, and the truckers blocked that bridge. They also surrounded the Canadian capital in Ottawa, and the Canadian government did nothing for 2 weeks as support grew for the truckers. What do the truckers want? They're truckers. They're not restaurant operators. They're not doctors. They want to be able to live and work and do their livelihoods without having to be vaccinated and without having to wear a mask. They make the same arguments as are being made down here. You own your face. You can decide what goes on your face. You own your body. You can decide what goes into your body. These are basic liberties that all human beings have. They're particularly manifested in the West, where we have either constitutions or judicial opinions that articulate support for these liberties. And the concept of civil disobedience is the history of the Western world. In America, we had civil disobedience against slavery for many, many years before we actually had the war between the states. And the abolitionists beat a drum and built up support for freeing the slaves. And when they did so, they broke the law. They broke the Fugitive Slave Act, a federal act which required that any slaves that escaped be returned. So civil liberties are more important than the government's concept of order. In this case, the government of Justin Trudeau has invoked something called the Emergencies Act. This act, when properly invoked, permits the government to suspend civil liberties, to arrest without charge, to incarcerate without charge, and to seize property. So the government in Canada is seizing trucks. It's stealing their truckers' food. It's seizing and stealing their fuel. It's invalidating their insurance. How insane is that, to have a 16-wheeler on a Canadian highway that's uninsured because the government, in order to strike back at the trucking company, has rescinded the insurance? But that's what this statute allows the government to do, and that's what it's doing. The problem is the statute has a predicate. Facts that must exist before the statute can be triggered. And those facts require that the emergency is impairing the national security of the country, preventing the government from defending the country. That is hardly the case in Canada today. Yes, people are inconvenienced, and yes, people are cheering the truckers on, and yes, the government is wrong, and yes, the government is crushing civil liberties, and yes, the truckers have the right to resist a monster government that crushes civil liberties. Is this going to come to the United States? Is this going to happen where we believe and recognize that our rights come from our humanity, whether you believe they are a gift from God or whether you believe they come from within us because we are the highest rational beings on the planet? Is this what we have to look forward to? Or is the government of Justin Trudeau just another tin pot dictator, totalitarian that doesn't know how to deal with human freedom? I don't think that civil liberties will be crushed that way down here. Our history is too long and too deep, and we are too courageous. The Canadian truckers are courageous too, and I don't think we've seen the end of this. When will this end? When Pierre Trudeau's son, Justin, is out of office and freedom reigns in Canada. Judge Napolitano, Judging Freedom.